just one more Instagram reel. That one wasn't funny enough. I need one more. That one kind of scared me a little bit, so I'm gonna just watch one more so I feel a little bit better, and then I go to sleep with a peace of mind. I'm not really that tired yet. I think I'm just gonna watch them until I fall asleep, and then I wake up, and then the same reel that I fell asleep to has been playing on repeat the entire night. Next thing you know, you wake up at 12 a.m. feeling like a piece of crap. You look yourself in the mirror and you realize, I feel like crap and I look like a loser. I can't keep doing this anymore. So you Google how to cure my social media addiction, thinking that Google AI is going to give you all the answers, because Google AI gives you all the answers to everything. But there's no answers. It's not there. What do you mean AI overview isn't available for this search? When I was 15 years old, I was convinced I was going to be the next Charli D'Amelio. I would post-consume. I was obsessed with the numbers that TikTok was bringing, even though it wasn't that many. And I would spend hours upon hours on my phone, especially on the toilet. I bet some of you watching this right now are on the toilet. When I graduated from high school, I realized I had a problem with social media, and I felt really gross about it. So I deleted it all, and I kind of cut everyone off by doing that. It wasn't until recently that I downloaded Snapchat again and consistently kept Instagram on my phone to realize that I really didn't need these apps, especially Snapchat. As a 19-year-old adult, I don't understand really the use of Snapchat anymore, at least for me. Now, some of my friends are like, Sam, you need to get Snapchat. Sam, you need to get Snapchat. Guys, I just don't use it anymore. I was obsessed with it in middle school, but I really just don't see the point of it now. So how did I cure my social media addiction? Well, the thing is, I didn't. I did delete Snapchat and TikTok off my phone, but Instagram was the one I had the hardest problem with. I would scroll and look at people's feeds. I would look at people's stories. I would compare myself to the girls at my school. I would compare myself to my friends going off to university, because I went to community college. And recently, graduating community college, I realized, and moving on to university, I was like, wow, it's really not all it's cracked up to be. And this made me have a realization about social media and being like, wow, it's all a freaking lie. This girl I know who has the prettiest Instagram, the coolest looking social media I've ever seen. I think she's so cool. I think she's so pretty. And she has this whole thing. I thought she was rich. I find out she works at a freaking grocery store. I was like, huh? That just shows you that social media is really just a highlight reel for people, and that you shouldn't be jealous of them. And this is why we need breaks from social media. But getting into the things that helped with my social media addiction. So I found the times that I would scroll the most would be when I felt lonely or tired or sad. Lonely, tired, sad. And if it was all three, then that was a bad component. Mostly when I was trying to avoid about thinking about something or doing something, that's when I noticed I would scroll on Instagram, scroll on YouTube, scroll on TikTok. The things I started doing to combat that was, now this is easier said than done. I would just start the thing I had to do. Being a person who procrastinates, procrastination just makes everything so much worse. Because then you're trying to cram, then you're trying to get everything done in such a short period of time, you're more worried about it, you're not putting out your best work. I would delete, when I knew I had to get something done, or something important. Now, this wasn't every time, I'm not perfect, nobody's perfect. I would try to delete all these social media apps off of my phone, and I would just start. And I had this conversation with my sister a lot. Starting really is the hardest part, because it seems like such a daunting task. Starting anything, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. I took freaking college algebra this semester. I did not want to freaking do that. I'm terrible at math. I'm terrible at algebra. I'm not a math person. But I freaking cranked in that library. I tried the hardest I could. I deleted those social media apps. I tried so hard. And I'm terrible at math. But what I found was I actually started enjoying it because I was trying hard at something. And that satisfaction of trying hard fed me more than the satisfaction of scrolling on Instagram Reels and TikTok. So this takes a lot of mental willpower. But when I notice that I'm feeling lonely, sad, or I'm trying to avoid someone, the first thing I do is call someone or just start talking to someone. So usually I'll like call my friends, or I'll start talking to my mom, or I'll start talking to my brother or sister. Like I'll just get out of my room and start talking to someone. Now there's actually a step before this. That step is realization. Realizing that you're falling into a pattern of scrolling is actually the hardest part, because you start scrolling and you don't realize how long you've been on the app or how long you've been scrolling for. Sometimes you snap out of it and you're like, whoa, I've been on this for too long. Or subconsciously you do know how long you've been on, you just don't want to admit it to yourself. But I would say that is the hardest part. Cutting cold turkey. Now this sounds like some real drug crap. When I would delete Instagram, I would have it deleted for months at an end. I would have it deleted for months and I'd be fine. But then I would download it again and I'd just be like, oh, I gotta just check in on some stuff. I kind of relate it to nicotine in a way. Now I've never had a nicotine addiction, so this is just from what I've learned. You know, you cut nicotine cold turkey and then you just want to go back. Like, you can't really do that. You have to wean yourself off. But then you eventually get off. You're like 1 month clean, 2 month clean. And you're like, is somebody who used to smoke nicotine, are they going to be like, oh, just one cigarette? You know, let me just check in with the cigarette, see how it's doing. No! You don't need to check in. And if you do check in, 2 seconds. Let it be the shortest check-in, then immediate delete. But honestly, checking in was one of the worst self-sabotage things I could do for myself. Because I would say, I'm just going to check in, and then somehow end up on Instagram Reels for 2 hours. This is a huge thing for me, because going out into the real world and reading books and going on hikes and going on runs is like, and spending time with my little brother and sister before I have to go to university is so important to me. And I'm wasting all this time watching Instagram Reels? Brother, that is not very yeehaw. So when I would realize that I was feeling bad, some hobbies that really have helped me get out of my slumps. Now it's the typical stuff. Exercise, reading, talking to your friends, being social. You're going on social media because you're craving social connection. That's why you're on it. You may say, oh, I'm just checking with my friends, like blah 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 blah. But I know, you feel it in your brain when you get multiple texts from the group chat, like the group chat's blowing up. You're like, oh my gosh, the group chat's blowing up. Like, I'm so popular. Like, oh my gosh, so many people want to message me. And when you're freaking getting 1 million likes on your freaking Instagram picture, you feel those little buzzes in your brain. You're like, yes, hype me up. I'm getting likes on my Instagram. Like, you know what's going on. You feel that. You are craving that social connection. Go hang out with your friends. If you don't have any, go make some. But you're like, Sam, it's easier said than done. Like, I'm a freaking loser. Like, nobody likes me. Stop being a freaking pick me. Go make some freaking friends. Go to the library. Start talking to someone. I was in the library one time doing homework. This kid on a scooter drove up to me and started talking to me while I was doing my homework at this library desk. I turn her over. He's on his scooter. He starts talking to me. Hey, aren't you in my math class? Are we in the same math class? He just have some charisma, okay? All of y'all like to say you got Riz. I see none of y'all talking to anyone at my freaking school. Get some freaking Riz. Go freaking talk to people and make friends. Don't be a loser. And if you're sitting in bed right now and you're like, it's really hard, like, I don't want to do it, and you actually feel like that gross, low feeling, and you're like, I can't get out of bed, I can't do a single thing, this is what I need you to do. Like, this is what helps me when I literally don't want to do a thing. I get myself up. Sometimes I need to play music. Like, playing music or a podcast actually helps, because a podcast, somebody's talking to me, that's that social connection. Like, somebody's talking to me in my ear and I'm like, okay, I can do something when someone's talking. I get up and I just start and do some squats. I start to do some squats in my room, because, it starts to get the body moving, starts to get the blood pumping. Do a few squats. Maybe do a few push-ups. I mean, I'm not a big push-up person, but I just do a few squats and I'm like, okay, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. Like, when you finally get up, and then I start with the small tasks and I work my way up to the big tasks, because then it feels like I did a bunch of small tasks. And I'm like, oh, I got all this stuff done. Get a bunch of like the easy stuff done. And then you move on to the big tasks, because you're like, oh, I did all of this stuff. Let me just knock this out too. And then bam. It's all about that momentum. You just gotta start. And once you start, you build momentum, and then you're able to get more done. You can't be stopped once you get to start. Starting really is just the hardest part. In conclusion, you want to help your social media addiction? Start with the timers, 45-minute timers. Start with deleting like one app at a time. I started with Snapchat. Start texting, calling people more instead of scrolling on Instagram Reels. Talk to your family, talk to your friends, get that social connection, because when you're scrolling on Instagram Reels or TikTok, you're mostly craving that social connection. And then if you're like, no, I'm not craving social connection, I'm just tired and I need a break. Honestly, watch a movie or watch a show or something. Like, you do not need to be scrolling through Instagram Reels, or listen to a podcast, listen to music. If you need to do something that's mindless, anything but Instagram Reels. Listen to music, listen to a podcast, something. Call a friend. You need help getting out of bed? Put on a podcast, put on some music, and then just get yourself up and then just do some squats. I promise. The squats get the blood moving. They really do help. Give yourself grace, because I know when I would download Instagram again and then I would be on it for 2 hours, I would spiral. I'd be like, you loser, you're a loser. You freaking scrolled through Instagram Reels for 2 hours. You talk about social media addiction and you talk about how, I don't have Snapchat and I don't have Instagram Reels and I don't have TikTok, and then you freaking scroll on Instagram Reels for 2 hours, you hypocrite. You have to be easy with yourself. Give yourself a chance. I'm a swim instructor, and some of the people that I work with, they get so frustrated with themselves when they don't immediately get the move that I'm trying to show them. And I'm like, you have to give yourself a chance. And that's with everything. You're not always going to succeed right away. You have to keep trying. And it's frustrating, but you just have to keep deleting Instagram. Or if you keep downloading it again, watch the patterns. Why am I downloading this app? Why am I scrolling for 2 hours? What's going on in my life to make me start scrolling again? What's going on around me? What am I trying to avoid? Start asking yourself these questions so you can better understand what's going on. All right, I think that's all I have for today. If anybody has any questions about anything that I talked about, let me know. If I offended you about the Snapchat thing, I'm sorry, because, all my friends think I'm wrong about this, keeping Snapchat at our age. I could be wrong. If you use it, that's up, I don't judge. You do your thing. It's just not for me. I'm just don't find it necessary to use anymore. If anybody has anything they want me to elaborate on, let me know. Or if there's any topic conversations anybody would be interested in me talking about. I really enjoy making these videos, so that's all I have. Peace. Yeah.